The 2022 Golden State Warriors defied all the odds.
Y'all gonna sit on first take. You and Dominique Foxworth are going to sit on first take and say that Steph Curry will not be in the conversation for a championship in the next 4 years.
Clearly remember some experts and talking heads putting up the big zero of how many championships we would have going forward because of everything that we went through.
After everyone said their championship window was closed, Steph Curry put the team on his back, having a legacy-altering year. They won 53 regular season games and took down stars like Nikola Jokic, Ja Morant, Luka Doncic, and Jason Tatum in the playoffs to win the organization's 7th championship and 4th in this dynasty era. But unfortunately, only 3 years later, this team is a shell of its former self. So with that, let's take a look at where is every single player from the 2022 Golden State Warriors championship team today. Starting off with James Wiseman, the number 2 overall pick in the 2020 draft, who was destined to be the future of the Warriors, actually missed out on the entire championship season due to a torn meniscus. Unfortunately, it was a sad ending for Wiseman and the Warriors due to consistent injuries. He never got going, and after only playing 60 games in a Warriors uniform, he was sent to the Detroit Pistons to try and revive his career. After 87 games there, he was then sent to the Indiana Pacers this past season. He played in their opening game, but would tear his Achilles. Now, funnily enough, if the Pacers do win the championship this season, he would technically be a 2-time champion, but unfortunately, Wiseman is the biggest bust in Warriors history. Up next, Quinndary Weatherspoon. Now, he didn't suit up during the playoffs, but did play in 11 regular season games, which still warranted him a ring. Now, after being on this championship squad, he would not return back to the NBA. He played in a variety of different teams overseas in places such as China and Puerto Rico, and now currently in Canada, where he plays for the Brampton Honey Badgers, where he averages a nice 20 points a game. Next up, Chris Chiozza, the last player to be on the roster but not suit up during the playoffs, but in the regular season he did average 2 points in 34 games. And unfortunately, he was another guy who after this season could not get back into the NBA. He spent some time in the G League, in Spain, and now currently in Turkey, where he plays for Mundsia Basket, averaging 8 points a game. Next up, Juan Toscano Anderson. Although averaging 0 points in the finals, he still checked into multiple games, and he was a very consistent end-of-bench guy for the Warriors during the regular season, averaging 4 points. But the following season, he would decide to join the Los Angeles Lakers, where he would play 30 games with them, but eventually he was traded to the Utah Jazz that same season. He would go on to play 22 games with them, and then the following year, he had a short stint with the Sacramento Kings. He now currently plays in the NBA G League with Mexico City, scoring 17 a game this past season. Up next, Andre Iguodala. The Warriors' 2015 Finals MVP was traded to Memphis back in 2019. He would ultimately end up with the Heat for a few seasons, but decided to return to the Bay to end off his career in a veteran role. He would only manage the 31 games in the regular season and a handful in the playoffs, but he was a great locker room guy, and he had a very emotional moment when he checked in for the final minute of Game 6 of the Finals. Now, despite being 38, he decided to play on in 2023, but did only manage the 8 games due to injury before calling time on his amazing career, and recently the Warriors decided to retire his number 9 jersey. Next up, Moses Moody. A rookie in 2022, Moody spent most of the year developing but showed some really good signs in his 52 regular season games and his 13 playoff appearances. Now, in the postseason, in limited minutes, he averaged an efficient 3 points. Now, Moody is the first player to still remain with the Warriors to this current day, and he has continued growing into a solid role player for the Warriors, averaging more minutes and points each season. This past season, he averaged 10 points, but his time with the Warriors could be coming to an end soon due to his inconsistent play. Next up, Damian Lee. Another amazing locker room guy who kept the vibes up. In the regular season, Lee did average 7 points and 3 boards. In the playoffs, his performance did drop, only averaging the 2 points. Now, the following season, Lee would sign with Phoenix, and he is still currently playing with them. In the 3 seasons he's been there, he's played 99 games. He did miss a full season in 2024, and in his stint with Phoenix, he's averaged 5 points. Next up, Nemanja Bjelica. Another amazing role player, and he was so crucial across the season with the Warriors' limited center depth in 2022. He would average 6 points and 4 rebounds in 71 games. Now, he was another player who his points and minutes did drop off in the playoffs, but he still had some big moments. Now, once again, he was another player who, after this 2022 season, did not return to the NBA. He played a few seasons over in the EuroLeague, but due to some injuries and some off-court troubles, he would be waived from his team before ultimately retiring. Next up, we have Jonathan Kuminga. Another rookie from the 2021 draft class, Kuminga showed great glimpses in his first season, averaging 9 points and also just showing signs of being an athletic beast. Now, in the playoffs, he did only average 5 points, but in the 3 playoff starts he got that year, he averaged 11 points. And he's another player who has remained with the Warriors to this current day, consistently showing more and more signs of having all-star potential. And in the Warriors' most recent 2025 playoff run, he averaged the 15 points despite a very inconsistent role. Now, this offseason, he is set to be a restricted free agent, but isn't likely to return to the Warriors due to his fit alongside Steph Curry. Up next, Gary Payton II. A fan favorite who provided a big impact on both sides of the ball, GP2 averaged 7 points in 71 regular season games, and in the playoffs, when he was out there, he provided a big spark, including a monster 15-point performance in Game 5 of the finals. Now, the following season, he would decide to sign a deal with the Portland Trail Blazers, where due to injuries, he would only end up playing 15 games, and in a shock move, the Warriors traded to get him back despite all the injuries he had, and since recovering, he's back providing a spark on both sides of the ball for the Warriors. Up next, Otto Porter Jr. One of the more underrated role players in this Warriors run. In 63 regular season games, he put up a very important 8 a game. Now, in the playoffs, he did only average the 5 points, but he had 5 games scoring 10 or more points. And in those games, the Warriors went 4-1, and he also hit 2 big threes in Game 6 of the finals. Now, the following season, he would decide to join the Toronto Raptors, where he would only end up playing 23 games, averaging 4 points in 2 years. Before being traded to the Utah Jazz, they would immediately waive him. He ultimately ended up calling time on his career after that. Up next, Kevon Looney. In my opinion, by far the most underrated player in this championship run. He was an Iron Man for the Warriors, playing in every single game in the championship season, including all 82 regular season games and all 22 playoff games. Now, in the playoffs, he would average a very crucial 6 points and 8 rebounds, and being the only main center for the Warriors, he did a lot of the dirty work. Now, Looney to this day is still with the Warriors, being one of the main fan favorites. He has taken a back seat in the past 2 years, but is still playing any role required. He's actually now been with the Warriors for 10 seasons. Up next, Jordan Poole. The X Factor and dynamite of the 2022 Warriors, Jordan averaged an electric 18 points a game in the regular season, and he did not drop off in the playoffs, still averaging 17 a game, and he had 7 games where he scored 20 or more points, and in those games, the Warriors went 6-1. Now, in the finals, he was put into a 6-man role, but he still brought the energy off the bench. It was expected that Jordan was going to be the point guard of the future, but unfortunately egos collided and a very nasty moment happened in the offseason, which, long story short, ruined the relationship between Jordan and the Warriors. He would go on to play one more season with them before a messy exit resulted in him being sent to the Washington Wizards in return for an aging Chris Paul. Now, this past season for the Wizards, Paul averaged 20 points a game, putting up some solid stats, but he doesn't seem to have that same confidence he once had. Up next, Draymond Green. The defensive anchor of this championship team, he was an all-star in 2022 and finished on the second team all-defense, and he played a very crucial part in locking down star players all season long. Now, in the playoffs and in particular the finals, offensively he wasn't too great, but he did what was needed on defense. Now, Draymond is one of those few players that is still with the Warriors today. He continues to be a defensive menace and provide that grit for the Dubs. Now, he certainly has had a few questionable moments in recent times, but he is still a key part of the team, recently this season finishing 3rd in the DPOY. Next up, Andrew Wiggins. Another all-star for the Warriors in 2022, averaging 17 points a game, and in the playoffs, Wiggins was huge. He had one of the great posters on Luka Doncic, and in the finals, he was in career best form, averaging 18 points a game, including a 26-point performance in Game 5, and he was certainly the Warriors' second best player in the finals. He also had a big impact on the other side of the ball, locking up Jason Tatum, and overall, he was just a great story. Now, Wiggins would play 3 more seasons with the Dubs, unfortunately not looking like the same player he was in 2022. In 2024, he dropped down to 13 points per game. In 2025, he had a little bit of a bounce back, but at the deadline, he was sent to the Miami Heat for Jimmy Butler, where so far on the Heat, Andrew Wiggins has looked solid, putting up 19 points a game. Up next, Klay Thompson. Certainly the best story of the Warriors' 2022 championship run. After missing 2 full seasons due to injury, Klay would return in the second half of the season, averaging 20 points in 32 regular season games. Now, despite some inconsistencies in the playoffs, he had some patches where he looked back to his best, averaging 21 points a game through games 3 to 5 in the finals. And I personally felt like it was a miracle he was even out there at all, let alone playing at such a high level once again. Now, unfortunately, it seems like another mixing of egos. The following few seasons, the Warriors wanted Klay Thompson to start taking a backseat role, despite still putting up some really solid numbers, and with that, Klay Thompson did not look happy at all. Eventually, this past offseason, he would leave the Warriors to join the Dallas Mavericks, where in his first season, he would average 14 points, but unfortunately for him, the Mavericks traded away Luka Doncic, and they were an absolute disaster. Up next, Stephen Curry. We certainly saved the best for last. Steph's 2022 season was arguably the most important one of his career. He had a year that changed his legacy forever. In the regular season, he averaged 25 points, which had him as an all-star and on the second team All-NBA. But come the playoffs, Steph Curry was a different beast. He went on an absolute tear, arguably having the best stretch of his career, averaging 27 points, and in 11 of the 22 playoff games, he scored 30 or more points, including a legacy-defining 43 points in Game 4 of the finals and 34 points in Game 6 of the finals to close out the series, and he would go on to unanimously win the 2022 Finals MVP. Now, very luckily enough, Steph Curry is still with the Warriors and still playing at such a high level. He has been an all-star the past 3 seasons, and he still continues to carry the team. Now, unfortunately, this past postseason for the Warriors, a hamstring injury kept him from playing later on in the playoffs. So in conclusion, the 2022 Golden State Warriors today. 6 players still remain with the Golden State Warriors, 5 players still remain in the NBA, but are now currently on different teams. 3 players are no longer in the NBA, but are still playing at a professional level, and 3 players have now retired from basketball. So there you have it, everybody. That is where every single player of the 2022 Golden State Warriors championship team is today. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to let me know by dropping a like and subscribing. And feel free to comment down below, should I do this video style with some more Warriors teams from the past? But thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.